It is the Frank and Friends show. Hi, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Jody Collins.
Well, hello, Jody.
Hello, Frank.
How's things?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I'm delighted that you're here. I've been promoting that you were coming. I said that Jody Collins, the graphic artist who designed the Frank and Friends logo, would be in, and I'm on your podcast. We're going to talk about that today on the show. But in order for you to enjoy the show on a regular basis, please do subscribe. You can do that on any of the audio podcast apps. We're on all of them that I think, just like yours, right?
Yeah, good Lord, it starts to add up after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Stitcher, Spotify,
check.
iTunes,
yep. Google,
Pandora.
I think Pandora. That's a tricky one.
Avatar.
I don't know that one.
I'm just kidding. Pandora, Avatar.
Because you see James Cameron, right? I get it.
I'm looking forward to those 8 other films that they're going to release.
I'm not. Well, anyway, all the audio podcast apps, including Audible, and we'll tell you more about Audible later on, and of course our YouTube channel. So if you want to see exactly what this odd couple looks like, all you have to do is head over to youtube.com/Frank and Friends Show, hit the subscribe button, and then gently smash that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. All right, and our merch. Of course I've got to talk about the merch because the towel folding fairies have been here once again, and I don't know if we'll open it now or save it for later, but you can see we've got the beautiful, soft, plush Frank and Friends Show beach towel.
Vanna White here.
Yes.
Look at this.
And Carol Merrill predated Vanna White, but she also, I think of her and any of the Barker's Beauties were so good at showing off things. But the logo is also over our shoulder at all times so that I don't forget.
It's pointing right at my head.
And it's on it's on the mugs. I got the mugs. So I probably will start by asking you, let me ask that. I'm going to take a sip first because now I've got water in my hand and I've got this Pavlovian response that I can't not drink. All right. So, Jody, we met through Rob Howard of Hutch and Howard, who was the first advertiser on this podcast. And I was thinking about a logo, thinking about a website, trying to think what I can do to, make a splash. And he said, there's only one choice, and it's Jody, and your business is called Feral Giant.
Feral Giant, yeah.
And your email address is speak@feralgiant.com.
It is.
Which I love.
I didn't want to have Jody at Feral Giant or info at Feral Giant. I wanted something interesting.
What would a giant say?
Yeah,
speak.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about our fabulous Frank and Friends logo, which I love to describe as an In-N-Out burger that accidentally fell into the Smokies, or a Southern California motel that found its way to Pigeon Forge, or actually it even could be just a Pigeon Forge motel, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. I think it was in the description what you were describing. I picked up on the word Vegas, so
nice.
That's where the signage, and I've been doing work for Print Shop Brewery, and I did an antique signs glass right after I did this. So I had all this research and everything on it.
And ironically, I misspelled Vegas. I was trying to think of the vagus nerve. Oh
God!
No, I was so in love with the logo. I just was so immediately sold and immediately thrilled with it.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you like it too, because you say you get a kick out of seeing it on mugs.
Oh yeah,
and all the other things.
It's what I had said. It's not every day I see it on a towel.
Well, I went through the merch store and I just saw all these different things. And basically, this version of the logo, the simple, I don't know what you call the plain version.
This would be called the main brand.
So this is the actual logo, is the one on the cups, and then you put it onto the mountain backdrop, which is something I was thinking about because I wanted to do shows, and we do shows that are based in the Smokies. But all right. So you said you weren't thinking about it on a towel, but when I saw the towel, the blank towel, I thought this didn't fit. This was just, I couldn't make it fit on a towel. I thought, so I actually wrote to you and bought an additional copy of the logo in super duper high resolution.
Yeah, it was, well, with the Smokies background and everything, it was that, because we're in the foothills of the Smokies here, and I'm also a social media person, so I know that it needs to be in 18 different sizes.
Oh, yeah.
Like YouTube is like this, Facebook is like this, and it's all these different styles and formats. I was like, what is something that can be pliable?
And I needed one that had more pixels for the printer, for the towel printer, whomever it was, of teespring.com. So you can get those, by the way. The link, of course, is in the descriptions of every episode. So that, and I'll point out, by the way, we talked about this on your podcast. I was a guest on Ramblin, Man, which will come out sometime in 2023.
I think it's still being recorded right now. It was. We made it from meal to meal on that episode. We started at lunchtime and ended at supper time. It was great. It was awesome.
Was it okay?
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Jody says to me, "Hey, I'd like you to be on the Ramblin' Man podcast, but I want to warn you, it's not like your show. It's not, a half-hour cute little episode or whatever it is. It's an open-ended conversation. Do you think you can handle it?" Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm used to talking in 18-second bursts over songs, but I think, of course, I had in my head that I will show him. So I stayed for 5 hours.
Oh yeah.
I was there. I was at your house from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And I would still be there if not for your dinner plans last night.
Yeah. Which ended up the minute I was stepping out the door, they got canceled. So we could have gone on for 4 more hours.
No.
Had I known.
Oh, because I thought. Well, I hope it wasn't my fault for making you behind schedule.
No. Probably shouldn't talk. Yeah.
All right. Sure. Yeah. I understand. But anyway, I was over there talking about all these things. But one of the things we briefly mentioned is how, as artists, you as a graphic artist and me as an alleged performing artist, we get so often asked to do our thing for free.
Correct.
I'll be asked, mainly it's for me, they want me to MC stuff. I'll be asked to MC whatever, it doesn't matter, the event, but they don't want to pay you for it because that's the norm for many of the charitable organizations.
Yeah.
And you said that when sometimes a charity will contact you and ask you to design a logo for their gala.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, it's going to cost you this much, and they're shocked.
Yeah,
And it's not the amount that shocks them. It's that it's not zero that shocks them.
Yeah. So a fun fact about me is I've been on over 30 nonprofit boards and executive committees over the years.
No wonder everybody knows you.
And a lot of times I got jumped on because I did this thing when I was at the newspaper the first time.
Yeah.
And it was, we raised money for United Way.
Sure.
But it was 2008, the crash, and social media was relatively new. And I used social media, and we raised $143,000.
Wow.
So the people at United Way were like, well.
Yeah, come be on our board.
They were like, how did you do that? Can you explain that to all these loaned executives? So I got a lot of nonprofit boards asking me to come on. And
did you have to go do that speech at I used to have to do this. They would have Media Day United Way, and they would have a couple of people from the TV stations for a session, and then radio, and print, I think 3 separate sessions. And you would be telling these people who, some are volunteers and some are new hires or some are old vets, but you're telling the members of every nonprofit in town eventually how to get exposure for their event, how to get a free announcement on the radio, or how to become a partner, promotional partner.
It was a lot of, here are all these free channels that it takes time and effort to do the marketing and PR on them, but they're all there, they're all usable, and why not?
How many boards? You said 30 boards?
30 plus boards and executive committees.
Because I'm thinking if I can get you to join this board that I'm on, maybe I can roll off.
Is it another co-host of this is on that board?
Well, Catherine Frady, as you know.
Well, I'm friends with Brandon Gibson, so shout out to Brandon Gibson.
Have they already got you?
No.
All right. Well, Catherine.
Brandon, hold on. Brandon? Why didn't you ask me, Brandon?
I'm asking you.
Oh, okay.
Because Catherine Frady has told me that she wants to rewrite the bylaws. I mean, after a while, after 10 years, you have to update the bylaws anyway. So I told her that I'm asking, when's my term up? When do I roll off? Because I got to get off before they make me president. I can't be on that long. And she says, no, she's going to rewrite the bylaws and make me a lifetime member.
Oh.
But if I get you on,
I can be a lifetime member.
I can, get it. See how that works? Yeah, it's good. See.
This is all being recorded, so I'm like, no. That is one thing I learned how to say no a lot, which was.
How do you do it?
No.
I need help with this.
Well, I'm a big, scary man, so I just, no. Yeah.
Well, I recently, I did say no when another charity that I love asked me to be on the committee for their big Christmas fundraiser, and it's a huge silent auction, well known in town, and they're like, you just would have to get, X number of silent auction items,
Yeah.
and you come to all the meetings, and I did have to say no. Because I mean, now that I'm in the quote-unquote gig economy, I can't volunteer my time as much. I have to find a paying gig in that time slot instead.
There is one board that I got, it wasn't really offered, but it was toe in the water. Mm-hmm. And then I asked somebody who was on that board or had been on that board previously, I was like, what is it like being on this board? And they're like, oh, all you're going to do is ask people for money. I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm not going to do that. It's like, you want me to design posters and tell you how to do social media? I'm happy to do that.
There's a lot of that on board work. That's the point. Yeah, they want a bunch of people out there, bringing in the donations. Yeah. And then also you're expected, usually on a board, to make a donation yourself because there's some paperwork they turn in. We have 100% board participation, and that helps them. I don't know what it does, but it helps them somehow in the ratings, in the getting more grants, in the charity navigator, whatever it is, all those things. So.
I've got a shiny nickel that I'm happy to pass along to them. That's about it.
I'm the same with you, and all the other things I'd volunteered for, it was always an in-kind donation.
Right.
And that's because I had the time for it. But now, I know you're busy all the time, you're drawing stuff, but we talked a little bit yesterday about you going and was smoking with cigars in different cities in Atlanta and all these other famous cigar bars. You're going to a celebrity's dad's cigar bar or
it was Cam Newton's cigar bar.
Cam Newton's,
but his uncle was there. His uncle ran the place.
I see. And that made me wonder, I mean, you got guy friends that you hang out with.
Yeah. It's, time has taught me how to, again, say no. How to keep the ones that are good and push away the ones that are bad.
Yeah.
But cigars is a big thing because it's forced relaxation and it's all about just talking.
I need to write that down. Forced relaxation. Because I don't relax.
Oh.
Have you noticed?
Yeah. I missed my opportunity to go, no comment. 5 hours later, no comment. No, I'm just kidding. It's all.
No, all right. So forced relaxation is, all right. I'm trying to think, who are my close friends? And I think about all the different jobs that I had over life. And I generally hang on to, I don't know if it's on average or if it's just exactly one friend from each of those jobs I stay in touch with years later.
Okay.
There's a couple of places where maybe I worked for a long time and there's two. But I noticed that. I think about all these different radio shows that I've been on over time and radio stations where I've worked. And it always seems like there's always one guy or woman that I'll, still text with.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Hey, I was thinking of you. Hey, I'm going to be passing through town, that kind of stuff. Whereas, but I'm thinking they're all elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of people local, and I've lived here 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was telling Frady this last week or the other day that she's one of my closest friends, which is kind of a new thing because really it's over the past year. We've just spent so much time together in the past year doing all these episodes, many of which required, an hour and a half drive to and an hour and a half drive from. So that's forced, I don't know, not relaxation.
Forced companionship.
Yeah. And we get along very well, obviously, and we have, we make each other laugh, so that's a nice thing. And my wife is cool with it because she's also friends with Catherine, so that helps, But most of my closer friends are women, not men.
I would say 80% of my friends are women, not men.
Okay, then I feel better.
Yeah.
Because I would say that's similar with me, because here I am thinking about you talking about your guy friends. But then when I listen to your podcast, you're very palsy with, Aaron Slocum and Aaron Donovan and every other Aaron that in town. So
Aaron Hall. Aaron Hall's been on twice, yeah.
If you're an Aaron and you haven't been on Ramblin, man.
ERIN. I don't take any Aarons on my...
I know a man whose name is Aaron, spelled ERIN. Can I get him on the show?
Sure. Sure. He'll be my new best friend. But no, it's...
Talking to you, Aaron Bankus.
I will say, when it comes to my friends, it's 80% women. But when I was talking about like going out to cigar bars and stuff, because I'm a big dude and it's a part of who I am, I do lean more towards talking to guys.
Oh, sure.
Or there's a lot of guys that just decide to open up and talk to me. Like I was at a cigar shop in New York City, Nat Sherman. and a guy was sitting next to me, and he had a violin case, and he was just sitting, or no, a trumpet case. He just started talking to me, and it turns out he was getting his PhD. He wanted me to read his thesis, and then he was like, "Hey man, I'm playing in a jazz club at like 2:30 in the morning in Brooklyn. Do you want to come?" I was like, I gotta catch a flight at 6 in the morning, so I'm going to say no.
That's a pass.
But thank you.
He's getting his PhD in what subject did he mention? Jazz?
I went to Fulton, so it's some kind of biology that I do not know. It's a very long word, and but it was just like, sure, man, I'll read that. I was like,
I guess, now I'm thinking that I'm trying to make a joke about the guy's got, a PhD in some hard science and he's playing jazz, but I can't because my son is close to finishing his PhD in a hard science in chemical engineering. And what does he do on the weekends? He sings at church. He's in a choir, another choir, the Vocal Arts Ensemble, where they go around, they do, whatever kind of concerts. Yeah. So that's his relaxation, is singing. Huh. What's my relaxation? I was
sleeping.
I used to say that cleaning the pool was my relaxation.
Okay.
That was like my Zen garden because I'd go out there. But then I broke the stupid pole in half. I just ordered a new one. It should be here in a couple of days. I went to a store to buy one, but I couldn't. It literally can't fit in the car. So I thought, well, I guess I have to order it from Amazon because I want a gigantic, 16 and a half foot pole to clean the pool. But the rain in August I get behind schedule. There's just too much debris. My wife will not let me clean the pool with my 16-foot metal pole during a thunderstorm.
Huh.
Now, I know when our relationship goes sour because she will say, hey, why don't you go out and clean the pool with your 16-foot pole?
Well, I think that tells me your life insurance policy is not that good.
No, it's probably not. It's not. So she says, she makes me come in. And so I got behind in cleaning. I couldn't go out there to clean, so the stuff gets in, the algae starts to grow. It made me stressed. I wasn't relaxed to clean the pool.
It's no longer your Zen pool. It's now the algae pool.
Yeah, I've got it back to shape. It took me a few days, and then the funny thing is, it was the day I went over to do your podcast, so yesterday. I had done everything. I cleaned the night before. I did all the things, the chlorine, the backwash, the vacuuming. I had it, and I get home from your podcast, and it's the best it's looked all week. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I have time to get in, because here comes the thunderstorm.
Oh, my God. Yeah. It's an everyday thing now.
Yeah, I guess it's during August.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk also about my other alleged relaxation, which is the figs. But I may be suffering from fig-exhaustion. And we'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about my friend Maureen. My friend Maureen has the Middleburg barn at Fox Chase Farm. And this is in Middleburg, Virginia. It's about 50 miles west of Washington, D.C. on Route 50. And she's got, you can have anything there. It's a beautiful open space that she built 5 years ago without nails. It's the mortise and tenon style of construction. I mean, she didn't build it. She had dudes come and do it. But I was there. I visited during the construction. I saw this actually happening with my own eyes. And now you can rent it out for parties of up to 400. It's a flexible space, so any number up to 400. You can have a wedding reception, a fundraiser, a corporate event. You could put on a show, just whatever. You can do, set up a stage and whatever you want to do in a literal barn with Swarovski crystal chandeliers and the ultraviolet HVAC system so you can purify the air. And it's a horse farm. It's a working farm. So she has people in the other barn, the horse barn, and they've got the arena where people can ride their horses around in circles. And they've got the other fields for the jumpiness and the steeplechasing.
Which one is dressage?
I think that's what they do. I think that's the word I've been struggling to find.
That's the one word I know because it's so weird, dressage.
For months I've been doing these commercials for Maureen, and I'm trying to remember, what's the word? I think it's steeplechase, but I think dressage, is that the thing where they walk sideways? Because...
or is that where they do the...
Well, that might be a little bit of that.
I do too much hand stuff.
Well, that's fine. That's why it's a video podcast on YouTube. But I remember going to William Shatner's celebrity horse show one time, and they do a different type of. They do a thing where the horses walk sideways and dance around, and that might be dressage. But you could certainly do that at Fox Chase Farm.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to have it during your wedding, but I've seen pictures of people on the website where they have a horse seems to come by. You click on the weddings link, and there's a picture of the bride and groom talking to a horse,
Nice.
Just like on Mr. Ed.
Could be the ring bearer. You could get a horse.
You know what? He does have a ring in his mouth or something. A bit, yeah. He's got something.
She should charge extra for that.
Well, she's got the swans also, Fred and Ginger, who
Lovely.
are hissy, mean creatures.
Oh, not so lovely.
But it doesn't matter because she only had to, we've discovered this when it was cold and she wanted to bring them in for the winter and put them in the barn and put them in a little kiddie pool. And they're just nasty animals, but they had to come in and stay warm, so even they agreed. But then when they went back, they're happy to get back out and swim their figure eights gracefully and beautifully in the pond so you can get your wedding pictures made.
I'm just thinking in their minds they're complaining about all the people being
Fred and Ginger,
on their property.
It's so nasty. Ginger complains about swimming backwards. So it's the Middleburg Barn in Middleburg, Virginia. Call 540-687-5255 or go to themiddleburgbarn.com. I brought you some figs. Have you had any?
I did not.
Are you afraid of figs?
No.
It's okay. They have a laxative effect. It's understandable.
No, I think it was the shift in plans last night, and I ended up working. Talk about being busy.
Yeah.
I ended up working
I noticed
essentially until midnight last night.
And then you cranked out an episode of a previous one you'd recorded. That got posted.
Yeah.
Of the Ramblin' Man podcast.
I woke up early to do that this morning.
Nice.
I had done all the editing, and all I had to do was record the intro and post it. And
Oh, okay. So you got it done.
yeah, I used to stress about that a lot in the early days, but episode 123, it's like, it's going in the background. I'll let it do its thing, and then I'll grab it. But Daniel, I really appreciate having you on.
What that means is that you have, actually it's a compliment to your guest because it means that you feel like the show's good enough to stand on its own. You don't have to do any, you're not stressed about it. If it was a show that you're like, you're relaxed about this particular episode. That's good.
It was interviewing a man about chip carving.
Well, I don't know what that is.
It's you take this little knife and you just chip these, carve these patterns into wood. And
see, I had it the other way. I assumed he was taking wood and carving them into chips, like for poker.
No.
Is it like woodwork on a?
It's woodwork, but it's
I'm trying to point to his woodwork in the house.
That's what I was looking around like. But it's more pattern based. It's a historic thing, and he just wrote a book on it and shows people how to do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Gives classes. He's very interesting. It was 3 hours and 5 minutes in length.
Now, oh wow! So that makes me sound not that bad. It's called. I know it's called Ramblin' Man, but if I'm searching for it online, I've already subscribed. So remind me, what's the search term to find it on all the podcast apps?
Ramblin', no G, like the Hank Williams.
Okay, so Ramblin' apostrophe.
Ramblin' Man, yeah.
Okay.
Ramblin' Man, and it's a photo, oddly enough, of me smoking a cigar. My friend Sean, we were at Casual Pipe in Fountain City when that was still a thing.
Yeah.
And he's a Pulitzer-nominated photographer, and he took a photo of me, and that's the Ramblin' Man.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Have guy friends. It helps to have guy friends that are strategically very talented.
Well, I didn't know if I was, crossing a boundary by bringing you a little container of figs, because I know from your Facebook post and just from knowing you that you are a fan of sweets, because Oreos are your jam.
I am the Oreo man. Yeah.
And is that something like for me? I think I mentioned in the episode I did with you that when I first came to Knoxville, I did this bit on my on-air audition where I stuffed as many Marshmallow Peeps in my mouth as I could, because I knew it was funny. And it's a bit where, like we do in Einstein Simplified, called Marshmallow Madness, as it turns out, where you put, it's like Chubby Bunny. You put as many marshmallows in your mouth as you can, and you try to talk and try to blah, blah, blah. Well, the joke was, how many can I jam into my mouth?
Right.
Can I put in 21, which would be the full, or whatever it was, 15, I guess, 5, 10, 15 of these.
Okay.
All right. Well, that, and then a couple other times I did more Marshmallow Peeps bits on the air. When the Marshmallow Peeps bus came to town.
I didn't realize there was a Marshmallow
I don't know if they still have one, but for a while they had one. It's like the Wienermobile. It was an old school bus with a big Marshmallow Peep on top. So naturally, I couldn't let things lie. I had to contact them in advance of their arrival in Knoxville and reroute their schedule so that they spent an evening at an Einstein Simplified show.
Oh. It's like, you can sponsor all of this.
Yeah, I was actually unemployed during the time.
Oh.
So but still, I don't know how I managed to convince the Marshmallow Peeps company that they needed to come early, day early and come to my show, but they did. And so anyway, I am to Marshmallow Peeps as Jody Collins is to Oreos. Once your friends grasp onto that, they will then send you every Peeps meme, Oreo meme.
Yep.
They'll write to you at Easter, or they'll tell you, oh, did you know that there's a new pumpkin spice Oreo coming out with the golden cracker and the pumpkin spice cream filling?
There is, somebody tweeted years ago a thing that said something like, I like to go to the grocery store every once in a while just to see what the psychos at Oreos are, the new flavors that the psychos at Oreos have come up with. And that reappears on Instagram every once in a while. And every time it does, I'll get sent it. And I've started numbering them. When they send me it, I was like, 3. Next person, 4, 5. I was like, I've been sent this 7 times today. And yeah, new flavors and such. The aforementioned Erin Donovan, she actually has a container of the Neapolitan ones because I was not able to find those here in town.
What are the? I mean, I know what Neapolitan ice cream is. It's the 3 colors: the red, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry.
It's that with waffle cone flavored for the cookie part.
Oh, okay. That sounds somewhat interesting.
I've not been able to find them, so she is, I don't know, somewhere in the hinterlands. And she found
but she saved them for you.
Yes. She brought me back some strawberry, The Batman, Robert Pattinson film themed ones from Guadalajara or wherever she went.
Now, if you were to miss out on a specialty Oreo, would you feel bad? Are you a completist? Do you have to have every one?
I'm good.
I'm
good. Wait, I'm good. I'm good.
No, I'm that way. I understand with the Peeps. I can actually, go without a Peep. It's okay. I love them. I love them.
I like to find them, but there are ones like the Boo ones that come out every year for Halloween. I'm like, they're just regular Oreos with orange food coloring.
Like the pumpkin spice ones, I guess my friend Bean on his Cup of Tea in a Chat podcast was talking about how those are coming out again for the first time in 5 years.
Yeah.
And as they're describing them, I thought, I'm not interested because it sounded like I couldn't tell actually if it was pumpkin spice flavored, which is just cinnamon and right? And cardamom, whatever else is in it.
Yeah.
There's no pumpkin in it. But if it's actual pumpkin flavored, then I'm much more pumpkin pie flavored. I'm all in for pumpkin pie flavored things. I'm not in for just, pumpkin spice without the pumpkin flavor.
I think it's basic white girl pumpkin spice. I think that's what it is. I can't even remember it. There's so many that come out that it's hard to keep up, and every once in a while I'll get a flashback on Facebook or something.
Yeah, that there was some Oreo that you forgot.
I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I got that. I forgot that was a thing. I will say the one thing I would like to wag my finger at the people at Oreo, if you're listening, of course you're listening, is the ones with the Pop Rocks in them. Please stop doing that.
Oh.
They pop in the back of my jaw and it feels creepy.
Oh.
That's the only way I can put it. It feels creepy.
Didn't even know they had that.
So every time those come out, the firework Oreos, I'm like, nope.
Are you old enough to remember the rumor about the kid from Life cereal who died from eating Pop Rocks?
Yes.
That always cracked me up because I grew up in New York, and the family, the Gilchrist family, who were in those commercials, the 3 brothers, and they also have an older sister and a younger sister and blah, blah, blah. They were on my paper route, and they went to the same Catholic school that my sisters and I went to. So the rumor couldn't catch on because he's right there. We can see him with our own eyes that clearly Mikey is fine.
Yeah. Mikey, are you dead? Are you a clone? If you'd known what a clone was back then,
maybe
it would have worked.
All right, so let me ask about another Oreo question though. How are you on? I'm sorry, we talked about flavored Oreos. How are you on Oreo flavored things? So cookies and cream ice cream.
All about it. All about it. If there's an Oreo something, I was just in Washington D.C. and something that amazed me is they had food trucks everywhere.
Yeah,
like everywhere, and a lot of them were ice cream food trucks.
Well, so I walked up. Was it summer?
I guess, but a lot of them had like milkshakes and stuff.
Okay.
So I walk up and there are milkshake flavors, and of course there's Oreos. Like, well, that's what I'm going to
Got to get it.
Yeah.
Well, all right, now, because I guess a lot of kids like cookies and cream ice cream. It seems like when my grandson now has switched to cookie dough, he was a big fan of cookies and cream, and now now it's everything cookie dough, in a milkshake or in his ice cream or whatever. All right, and then I also have very strong feelings about deep fried things.
Yes. I have had deep fried Oreos many times. The first time I had one...
Oh, so you like them then?
Yeah, the first time I had one... I'll get to that in a second. But the first time I had one, I was at I can't remember, Taste of Chicago. Oh. And first time I found them, went over to sit down to eat them, and there were 5 of them or something. Yeah. Started popping them in my mouth. I got to the second one, I was like, I smell weed. And there was a group of skater kids behind me. I was a skater kid, so I can call them out. And I was like, I don't know if these actually taste good or if they taste good because of that. I have had deep fried banana pudding at the
Tennessee Valley Fair.
Yeah, I didn't want to slander them in case they were a future
advertiser. Oh, so I liked it. So we can do point counterpoint.
It didn't. It was mush to me. I needed something.
Oh, interesting. Because maybe I have a YouTube video with Mr. Denton. And it's actually, he's since passed away. So when his family found this YouTube video, they were so excited to see him still alive, because I recorded it, a few years prior. Yeah. And we were doing a bit where I went to his booth to get deep fried banana pudding. And I had the camera going, so they knew it, but I got a really good one. Mm-hmm. And they super hard freeze it. Yeah. So that's the trick, is they freeze it, like in liquid nitrogen or whatever they make it, or dry ice probably. I guess it was just dry ice. They freeze it really, really hard so that when they deep fry it, it begins to thaw. So, but you've got to get it in the right timing. If you eat too soon and if it's still frozen, that's not gonna be good. And if it's mush, that doesn't sound good either.
Well, it was also, I got it from one of the carts or whatever you call it. That was one that traveled with them. So maybe it wasn't the highest quality like it would be with them.
Yeah, they were talking about how they they're always trying to outdo each other. In fact, he and a guy from one of the other rival firms, they were sitting and having a lovely conversation at the picnic table when I walked up to them, talking about, outdoing each other with the deep fried. And but I have my theory is that deep fried Oreo is one of the best deep fried things. Yeah. Because I've had deep fried Twinkies, I've had deep fried, obviously, banana pudding, deep fried candy bars. I think a lot of those things don't stand up to the deep frying process. Mm-hmm. Oreos are already, and the joke I would make is they're filled with stuff. Not cream, but stuff. And stuff stands up to heat. In fact, it softens to just the right consistency. The Oreo, instead of being too hard, it's like, it just envelops your mouth in fat and goodness.
So I will say the thing I wish they would bring back, do you remember the Oreo Big Stuff? BIGSTUF.
Was it not double stuff?
No, it was actually the shape of a Little Debbie cake. It was like that big, and it was like that much cream.
Yes.
And they had a commercial.
It was almost like, I'm trying to remember the name. There was a Suzy Q from Hostess that it was similar, right?
Okay.
Maybe? Let me show you that.
But the commercial for it was, they did it to some advertising exec had a great idea and did it to Mr. Big Stuff. So
by Gene Knight.
Oreo Big Stuff. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. See, I don't know if Suzy Q's still exist.
Okay,
but that's what they looked like.
Oreo has a version of that now, but it was the actual Oreo cookie. On the top, it wasn't soft and mushy. These are soft and mushy. Those are called Cakesters. There's a Nutter Butter one and an Oreo one right now. Good Lord, I know way too much about this stuff.
I miss some of the old cookies from my youth, and I think some of them were regional. Like we had Fudge Town cookies, which I think there was a company called Burry's Cookies, and I guess it was just a Northeast thing because they had Mr. Chips and they had Fudge Town cookies and these other. They were kind of similar to what Keebler came up with later, but they were like these round sandwich cookies that looked like a flower with a hole in the middle, and they had just a fudge filling, and I thought they were so good. I would pop them open and basically just eat the centers.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I did not know about Carvel until I heard Kevin Smith talking about it. Talking about Fudgy the Whale and Cookie Puss and all those things.
That's funny because on the Quitters Never Give Up podcast, which is the one about the Kevin and Bean show, they played the clip of either Kevin Smith and Ralph talking about Fudgy the Whale, or they played a clip of that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And then they had this audio clip of Tom Carvel. I'm Tom Carvel. It's time Father's Day. Fudgy the Whale is back with an ocean of ice cream. And my father used to love to tell me about Tom Carvel.
Oh, really?
Because the company started in Yonkers, New York, which is where I grew up. And we would occasionally be just driving around somewhere. My dad would go, "That's it. That's the original Carvel." And then I would know that we're about to now hear the rest of the story, which is Tom Carvel had an ice cream truck and it broke down one day. And rather than get the truck fixed, he bought the plot of land and opened up a store. And that's it right over there. And so we had a lot of Carvel stores in Yonkers, New York, and in Westchester County. And I remember one time there was going to be, and I was partial to hard serve ice cream, like Baskin Robbins.
Okay.
So I was snooty, and my sister loved Carvel soft serve, and I was snooty, and I liked Baskin Robbins.
Okay.
So it was one of those things where just because she liked it, I didn't, you know. But we'd go to, I remember going over to the Carvel in Tuckahoe, New York one time, and it turns out there must have been some kind of street festival, because I'm just a kid, my parents must have taken us, and they were going to have an ice cream eating contest in the middle of the street, or in the middle of town square in Tuckahoe, New York. And Tom Carvel himself is there. And that registered with me, because to me he was a celebrity because he's on television, right?
Yeah.
And there's Tom Carvel, and he kind of...
Smoking Marlboro, unfiltered.
He had this Kaz Walker-ness about him in a way.
Oh.
You know, just kind of that raspy...
So he was randomly punching people?
He might have been.
Sorry.
Well, when you could take the Fudgy the Whale, which basically was just kind of this teardrop-shaped cake, and depending on what else they needed for it, they would just turn it in different directions, and decorate it differently. So when you look at all the Carvel cakes, a lot of them are technically the same shape. It's just they're rotated in a different fashion and decorated. You know, instead of being a whale, you turn it a different way, and it becomes, I don't know, whatever you can do with that shape. But they also had Cookie Puss, was the other big famous one, which I guess was in the shape of a clown. Maybe, I'm not positive exactly what I have to look up Cookie Puss and see what that looked like.
The thing I always think about is, and sorry to go blue, but Kevin Smith always talking about, he's like, and unfortunately one girl in high school would always be called that.
With that name.
Yeah, with that name. I won't say it. But
yeah, see, here's, all right.
That was terrifying.
It does look bad. It looks like you could also make a snowman out of that, but what they've done is, and you'll have to Google this yourself, because I'm not going to use their copyrighted images on the show, but basically you take an ice cream cone and make that the nose with giant eyeballs and a little hat and a beret or something. Because at Baskin Robbins, we used to make something that was a clown, but it was a scoop of ice cream with the cone on a piece of paper, with the cone on top at a jaunty angle, and then we would put buttercream to give it eyes and a smile and little dots on the head, and it was basically a clown, ice cream cone clown, served upside down.
Interesting.
So it reminds me a little bit of Cookie Puss. So you missed out on growing up in...
yeah.
What did you have to hear that was like a regional...
We had Kay's ice cream. Kay's ice cream was big.
Chapman Highway?
The Chapman Highway, there was one out in Halls. And then we just had Mayfield. Like, Mayfield was such a huge thing.
Yeah.
That's what we grew up with.
So when I get Bluebell ice cream, that's from Texas, right?
I think so.
But that's not, okay, I guess that's relatively new to this area. Because I remember a friend from Texas being excited that she could get Bluebell.
Of course.
Becca.
Everybody from Texas is always excited that something from Texas is showing up. Sorry.
Well,
Buc-ee's. Sorry.
Oh, well, if I could find, before I get to say Buc-ee's real quick, if I could find the salted caramel Bluebell ice cream, it's, I got one that's for giving blood. I got a pint of ice cream, pint for a pint. I got a pint of this salted caramel from Bluebell, and it was the best salted caramel I ever had, and I've been on the hunt for it ever since, and I can't find it in the stores. But I went to the D&B's Hot Dogs out in Solway, and they have it in the 3-gallon tub, and you can get it in a dish. And, it's still just as good. It's so good.
I'm trying to remember. I've seen Bluebell out, but I don't know.
They sell it at Aldi, and they sell it in a lot of, stores.
Publix.
Yeah, but they have so many different flavors. I've searched through the entire...
Okay.
I mean, I'm like halfway down, I'm practically frozen myself trying to dig through all the tubs, the containers at Aldi, trying to find it.
I will say, A sleeper for me is Kroger brand and Food City brand. Because they come out with weird flavors.
I will agree, especially with the Kroger Private Selection. We got some in the freezer right over there.
A black cherry root beer.
Whoa.
That was ridiculously good. And I was just like, I want to get more of this, but I don't need more of this. And it's always cheaper.
Yeah, my wife gets the Extreme Moose Tracks or the brown butter. Is that what it's called? Not burnt butter, brown butter or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. There's so many. Yeah, the Kroger Private Selection has a ton of great flavors.
And I'm going to circle back to Oreo for 1 second.
Yeah, please. I brought up Oreo because I know you're a Mr. Oreo.
Mr. Oreo. That's what my license plate says. I am also known in my friend group for making Oreo lasagna.
I may need an explanation on this.
So Oreo lasagna.
Savory or sweet?
Sweet.
Okay.
So I found there's this website, I think it was called like Guyism, that they posted Oreo lasagna, and it's like you take Oreo cookies, crumble them up, put melted butter in them, put it as the base, and then I think it's, what is next? I think it's a mixture of cream cheese and whipped cream.
Oh, all right. So
and then,
make a sweet cream cheese, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. Keep going.
And then there's a layer of chocolate pudding, and then a layer of whipped cream, and then you crumble up Oreos and put them on top.
See, I get, you startled me when you say cream cheese, and I realize that's normal because you can make a Christmas cookie or an Oreo truffle where you crumble up Oreos and mix them with cream cheese, and they taste fantastic.
But the lasagna part was, I know it's layers, but it's not like it's 8 layers. It was only 3 or 4 layers, so I don't know why I don't know. They got me to click on it and make it.
Yeah, no, there's all sorts of other oddities you can make. I've seen all sorts of other desserts that are, made in the style of whatever else, and it's kind of a fun thing. It's like going back to DB's hot dogs. I've talked about this on the show a couple of times. Their Elvis is a hot dog bun covered in peanut butter with a banana in it, and then marshmallow sauce and chocolate sauce and peanuts. So it looks like a hot dog. Oh, it's really good. Yeah, I thought my grandson wanted one, and he's 8, so we ordered it for him. They got the deluxe. I didn't know that it would be as gigantic as it was, because in the picture you can't tell. It looks like a single hot dog bun with a banana in it. Well, first of all, they got these gigantic bananas that they cut it lengthwise, and they made 2. So here's 2 hot dog buns, 2 long pieces of banana, and then all the other things I described. So he's 8. He could only eat one of them, which was good news for me. Except that I'd already had, not thinking I was going to get any of the dessert, I'd already had a second hot dog, so I'm like, I don't know what
I'm going to have to force myself to eat this.
Yeah, I regretted it for a little while, but I tried to walk it off. We went out to Oak Ridge so I could walk it off.
It was like, there's a difference between 8-year-old Jody and your grandson at 8. 8-year-old Jody would have been like, what are we doing after this? I'm going to be hungry in another hour, so what are we? I'm a growing boy.
Well, good. I'm so glad that you came by. I mean, I know that your podcast goes on much longer than mine. So get a plug in again. So if you want to hear me really talk and ramble, I don't do enough of it here, but we talked about a lot of interesting things that I don't normally cover here. Stuff from my past and childhood and career that you may find somewhat amusing, and you can always pause if I start talking too long.
You just pick up the speaker and go to the bathroom. Like, you can take it with you.
I've been doing that with the AirPods, whatever they're called. Yeah. But as I told Frady the other day, one of them the left one especially, keeps popping out. And I am freaked that it is going to pop into the toilet or down the sink or into the pool or somewhere. Because I was cleaning figs at the sink and it pops out, and I'm like, I ended up smushing the fig that's in my hand to pulp, but I stopped the AirPod from going into the sink. I kept it out of the sink. But I don't know why it keeps popping. It's like I'm grinding my teeth or something, and it causes the AirPod to pop out of my head.
I've never had any luck with the AirPods fitting in, so I have the ones that are smaller that really kind of cram in.
Maybe that's what I need. Maybe I have tiny ears. Mm. Well, anyhow, but that helps me with listening to podcasts because I can, it's like the right They're right here in your head, Frank. So it's freaky. But Ramblin' Man podcast, so keep an eye out for my episode. It'll be coming out, and we've got 2 more in the queue ahead of me.
And I'm going to split yours into 2 episodes because it was...
Long. It was too long.
It was not too long. It was just
5 hours. It was 5 hours. I was there for 5 hours.
We took breaks. That counts for something.
That's true. I can't sit that long. It's we all know I can't. I don't even like going to the movies anymore because I don't want to sit sitting there for 5 hours, for 2 hours, much less 5. If you do enjoy Audible and audio entertainment, get Audible. In fact, you can listen to this podcast and so many other things. 300 years it would take you to listen to everything on Audible. And if you use our URL, audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow, you'll get a free premium membership for 30 days for you to try it out and get all of the perks, including the monthly credit for the free MP3 download. And that means that, when you're on Audible, you can stream all these thousands, tens of thousands, tens of thousands of titles, whether it's the audiobooks or the podcast or the custom entertainment that they have. Yeah. But premium members get an MP3 credit every month that you can bank or use. So use it. Take advantage of that, download something, and keep it on your personal device forever, regardless of whether you stick around and continue as an Audible member. But obviously they're doing this because they think you're going to stick around, think you're going to get hooked on it, like so many people. Avi was talking about the other day about how she loves listening to stories in the car and when she's driving, but then it keeps her place when she comes back in the house.
Nice.
Jeff Detro the other day said on Audible that he has been going back and listening to some of the stories he remembers, the books he remembers reading as a child and a young adult. And had, like he mentioned, I think it was The Yearling, which is a famous book, like one of those Peabody Award-winning books from the old days. And that was really cool for him. He said it felt like a warm embrace, he said, to hear this story.
There are 2 books that I always recommend to everyone, which I know one you will like and you've probably read. Steve Martin's Born Standing Up. He actually plays like the banjo and stuff in between chapters.
Oh my gosh, I need to, wow.
And the other one is, there's a comedian I love named Bert Kreischer, The Machine, to where he read his audiobook, and however long it was supposed to take, it was like Ramblin' Man. It was like 3 times as long because he has dyslexia. So he would read something, and then it would just be a flurry of cuss words of him getting frustrated because he keeps screwing stuff up. And so those 2 are ones I love to recommend because they're so weird.
So it's a completely different experience. They're both different experiences from reading the paper book.
And anything, why can I not pull his name? The British guy, very tall, Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
He reads a lot of books. Him and Campbell Scott. And everything they read is amazing.
I think he does the British version of the Harry Potter series.
He does.
Which is a special deal on Amazon. I can't promise you that for the premium. You have to look up the fine print on Harry Potter. But, oh man, Jim Dale did the American version, and Stephen Fry did the British version.
Okay.
So there you go. You can tell because he pronounces the U's, the extra U in the word.
The flavor, the color. Although I'm doing a French accent for some reason.
So audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow. Now I'm excited. I want to talk to you about Casey Kasem's famous cuss-laden outtakes. Have you ever heard those?
I've heard that, and I've heard the, what is it? What's the...
Orson Welles has got famous
Orson Welles
outtakes.
Being drunk. But there's one that Jimmy Pardo, I'm going to mention his name again because I can't.
Well, you didn't mention it here today. You talked about him.
But I mentioned Kevin
show.
Smith because I can't go an episode, although I don't. Yeah, I did mention Kevin Smith on that episode. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was some singer that he was like, the guys wear shirts. Like it was just whoever it was. If I mention his name, you'll recognize it. But
it's an outtake where he's yelling at the guys who wear shirts.
Yeah, and it's cursing. And it's somebody big, and I can't pull it.
Okay, well, let's see if I'm going to figure it out. Paul Anka?
Paul Anka. That's it.
I'm good at Googling, I've
there
discovered.
The guys get shirts.
I don't know this one.
Yeah.
I am going to listen to that and enjoy it. But I'm certainly, tell me if this is bad. A friend of mine, he's a comedian. Mm-hmm. His dog died. I sent him the Casey Kasem outtake about a little dog named Snuggles. And the whole, but all, I'm sure he hasn't listened to it, hasn't clicked on the YouTube link because I think he would have said something.
Yeah.
Once Casey goes off on the rant about the dog dying.
would have either been the laughter emoji or a lot of foul language.
Or he would have unfriended me.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to come out of an up-tempo record and talk about a dog dying? I love Casey Kasem. All right, well, Jody Collins, thank you so much for being here. We do want you to, of course, go to our merch store, and now it's time to unfurl the towel. The towel folding elves have come and gone, and they will be back after this episode. Oh, wait, no, you can. We need to get a picture of you with your.
Oh no, I was going to say, like David Copperfield, it's going to drop, and I'm going to be gone.
Oh wow!
I can't do that. I can't get out of this chair. I can't do that. But there's the logo. There's the beard that made the logo. There you go.
That's great. There's got to be a way I could do that with trick photography. Anyway, you go to frankandfriendsshow.com/store and do shop for all the merch that we've got for you. We appreciate the support. It helps us put batteries in the mics and all the other things. It pays for the website, all the costs.
The Jack Daniels in here.
Yes, all the things that we spend money on to just create this show for you, free of charge. And we do want you to subscribe on YouTube or the audio podcast apps, but especially on YouTube, because we made it past 700. Last time I checked, it was 70 something. So I'd like to get to 80 something, 90 something. Basically, we got to get to 1,000 so that we can, I hope, monetize a little bit on the channel. And what that means is people like my friend Rosemarie Machario, who already subscribes, shared the post on Facebook. And that's the difference, because those of you who are already watching and have already subscribed, you've done your part. But if you can trick, coerce, connive someone else into doing it, then that's how we're going to get there and do all the crazy things that we can do once you have 1,000. All right. Jody, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
I know. I'd like you to point out that this episode is almost twice as long as a norm.
It can't be any other way. With
I thought about cutting it into 2 episodes, but I thought, no. I'm going to deliberately let Jody go long.
I'm twice the size of a normal person. So.
That's right. That could be the name of the episode. Twice as much.
Twice as much.
Or something like that. Twice the size. All right, that's it. It is the Frank and Friends Show. Thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. My name is Frank Murphy.
Jody Collins.
And we'll talk to you again next time.